okay, no hard feelings, I promise. Now, I also want to thank two of my best friends over there. They're going to be changing the slides for me today, so if anything goes wrong, boo them, okay? Just look at them and scream. You guys suck. Horrible people. Okay, so to start off, I want to tell you guys a story. Now, this story is from grade 5. My teacher told me a very fake fictional story that for some reason really sunk in. I didn't know why, but I think I understand. He told me about a doctor in the 1900s who stood up on a stage just like this one. And he said, holding up a cigarette, "This will be the killer of the century." Now, back then, cigarettes were glamour. They were normal, they were cool. Doctors recommended them. People thought they were healthy. But years later, we know how the story ends. Not hundreds, not thousands, not 100,000, but millions of people lost their lives to something they were told was quote-unquote harmless. The doctor was right. And cigarettes killed an entire generation. Now my teacher goes on, and she says, the same doctor came back on stage years later, and he said the same exact thing. But this time he wasn't holding a cigarette, no. He was holding a pillow. And he said, sleep will be the killer of the modern age. And people thought to themselves, sleep. We stared in awe at his face. How could something so simple, how could something so calming that you do this kill you? And you know what we did? We laughed at the face of that very doctor. We laughed at the face of the very doctor who came on stage years earlier, told us about the cigarette that killed millions. We laughed. The only problem with this now is we've realized what cigarettes did to us. We're still laughing at the face of that doctor about sleep. Now, let me ask you something. If someone comes up to you, like your best friend, and he says, "Yo, I got 3 hours of sleep last night," and mind you, you have a physics test the next morning, you're going to respond with, "Yo, you must be grinding. You're so productive. Keep going. I wish I had that kind of muscle." But if my friend comes up to me and tells me, "I got 9 hours of sleep last night," I'd be like, first of all, why are you telling me that? Okay, cool for you, man. But do you have a bedtime? Are you 5? You get tucked in by your mom every night? That's what I would say. How have we gotten to a point where being tired is a badge of honor? Where exhaustion and productivity mean the same thing, because in my dictionary, those two terms are not the same. We built this whole culture around pushing ourselves to the limit, that we stay up and we praise those people that stay up grinding on projects all night long. But here's the thing. Sleep isn't just something to squeeze in after everything else. No, it's not a luxury. It's a necessity. Or, you know, we stay up, like Nicole, late at night, scrolling on your phone, not doing anything productive, just vibing. One more scroll, one more scroll, one more. Suddenly it's 3 a.m., you're not even having fun anymore. And you don't realize the damage that it's doing to you. And if we're ignoring sleep, we're ignoring the most important part of our well-being. I'm not just talking about feeling sluggish or feeling tired. No, sleep deprivation messes with your head, it messes with your body, it messes with everything in between. Consider this. A doctor is working a 36-hour-long shift without any real rest. Is that doctor saving lives, or is he putting them at risk? If you can't answer that question, I need you to take a step back and listen to me tonight. A study from the Cleveland Clinic shows that if you miss just 1 night of sleep, 12 hours, your reaction time becomes comparable to someone who is legally drunk. Someone who is unable to drive a car, is walking around these hallways every single day without any bans or any restrictions, putting others at risk. And to all you teenagers out there in the crowd tonight, worried about your skincare, let me tell you, dark circles, dull skins, and even acne are all linked to sleep deprivation. So if you won't sleep for your well-being, at least sleep for that skincare too, please. An 8-hour moisturizer is not going to do you any good. Now, let me tell you, I truly believe that anything without evidence is a blind guess. So, one study from the Southern Illinois School of Medicine states that chronic insomnia may increase your risk of heart disease by nearly 45%. 45%, folks. That is a near coin flip for life. And that's not all. Obesity, mental health, type 2 diabetes, memory problems, hypertension, stroke. These are not guesses. This is real data. And it all starts with, yo, I'll sleep later. And we keep brushing it off like it's no big deal. Well, it is. The CDC, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, reports that nearly 70% of high school students, 70%, that is 3 and 4 of all high school students, don't get enough sleep. Now, to put this into perspective, this is a picture of my physics classroom. And this is a picture of my so-called no-name friends. And this is how many of them didn't get enough sleep last night. Thank you, Ari. Amazing. Look at that. Isn't that terrifying? Now, let me ask you something. How many of us use our phones before we go to bed? I do it. Let's see your hands. Almost everybody in this room. And if you don't, you're lying to me. Now, let me ask you another question. How many of us got at least 6 hours of sleep last night? For those students that can't do math, that means you went to sleep at 2 a.m. and still got to school. What about 8 hours? What about 10 hours? Look at how fast those hands went down. That is exactly my point. It's crazy because when you're sleep deprived, you can tell. You can tell. Dude, you look really sluggish today. But sleep deprived people are also very moody. They will snap at you. They will not be able to focus in class. But here's the thing. Sleep deprived people are not just tired, no. They're disconnected from this world. So, the next time someone isn't answering your text or listening to you, just know they might be a little bit tired. And let's be real, we're not just talking about mood here. I get moody sometimes. Sleep literally affects how we learn. If you're staying up all night to cram for a test, all you're doing is slowing yourself down. We need a change in how we live. We need schools that start later because our clocks don't work on the same as adults. And you know, to every adult in this room, you might be like, yeah, who is this kid? Like, why is he telling me about sleep? He could just go to sleep earlier. But maybe if it works for the best schools in the world, just to start a little bit later, it might work for us. We need to stop glorifying the so-called hustle and start calling it what it actually is, which is unproductive and unsustainable. Now, I scroll on TikTok sometimes and I see these productivity videos of this dude with a six-pack and he's like benching 315. And he never starts his videos off with, get a good night's sleep. Nah, he hits you with a, wake up at 5 a.m., go get that cold shower, drink your broccoli juice, go for a run, come back, dominate the world. Which is why so many of us overlook the sleeping part. Now, this goes for the workforce too. We need to realize that working ourselves into the ground is not productive. Those 62-hour-long work weeks are not productive. There's a reason why night shifts have been classified as a probable carcinogen by the World Health Organization. Yes, a bad relationship with your pillow, and it may not be your alarm that wakes you up the next morning. It may be the sound of hospital machines as doctors try to undo the damage that sleepless nights have left on you. And I'll be honest, around exam season, I didn't really care about sleep. You know, I'd stay up past 2 a.m. I'd be like, one more lesson, I got this. Oh God. And I'm thinking, if I studied more, I'd be doing better. But in reality, I wasn't getting better. I was getting slower. I remember this one night, before a big biology test. I had my notes, I had my textbooks, I had my flashcards, and I had 4 tabs of Google Chrome open, and I said, one more lesson. Just one more lesson, power through, and you'll be fine. Dude, I read the same paragraph 4 times, and I tell you, I did not understand it a single time. I did not understand it a single time. The next day, I bombed the test. I'm sorry. Like actually, my brain felt like it was lagging. You know that feeling when you're trying to function, but your body's on airplane mode? That's exactly why. After that, I told myself I'd start doing this cool experiment. It's actually out of this world. It's about going to sleep. Turns out, I didn't study more. But I remembered. Sleep was not stealing my time, it was saving it. You know what actually helped me retain information? Sleep. You know what actually helped me handle the stress? Sleep. You know what helped me get through everyday life without snapping at the people that I care about? Sleep. I didn't write this to preach. No. I wrote this because I've been there and I've done that. I've been moody, I've been drinking, I've been snapping at people. I thought I was just stressed. No. I was just tired. And that's why this matters. Sleep fixed a lot more than I expected. So here's my challenge to you. Reclaim sleep. Not just for rest, not just for function, not just for energy, but to actually feel alive. You don't need a miracle routine. You don't need to be the kid that gets laughed at for going to sleep at 9 p.m. every single day. Just do this. Pick one night to sleep, just one. Go to sleep an hour before bed. And no screens. I promise you, it'll work. Now, if you like it, you'll do it again. But if you don't, cool, at least you tried. The truth is, maybe 8 hours of sleep won't solve every problem we have overnight, but at least you'll be awake for the ones that do matter. I say this because the greatest threat to our future may not be external factors like global warming and climate change. It may be the fact that we're too tired to care about them. And if a pillow is today's cigarette, then maybe the most rebellious, revolutionary thing we can do is go to sleep. Thank you.